Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to the Back to Basics Weight Loss Surgery channel. I'm Dana, MsDanaGerous. I'm your Saturday vlogger. Today is Saturday, July 20th, 2013. So today I have a few products to talk about, and I also have a little tool that I learned about at work, but I thought might be useful for us as we are thinking about life and our journeys, but also in general when you need to kind of step back and take an objective look at some things, what's going on, and making changes. So first of all, I want to talk quickly about, peanut butters and peanut butter substitutes. Okay, so, peanut butter, yes, peanut butter's great, and there's a lot of good things about peanut butter, but we all know the big fat and calories, and that's the problem. And for me, the other problem about peanut butter is controlling the quantity. And I know this is plain old Skippy, it's not organic or anything else, so there could be, there could be something that I could even make it better, but it's always down to big time calories. So what do you do to help control that? Well, one of the things that I tried early on is I'm like, well, let me try something like almond butters. Okay, so actually the stats on almond butter are not that better. They really are still pretty high calorie, pretty high fat, but what this allowed me to do was it really let me control my portion size. I'd never had almond butter, and so I bought these at Sprouts, and I think they have them. I've seen them other places. The great thing is, this is truly a portion control, so when it's gone versus, going into the big old Skippy jar and continuing to have some more. So then we kind of get into these ideas of a peanut butter substitute or another healthier version of substitute. And I know a lot of you guys have heard about PB2. It's been around for a while, but recently we've had some more activity and questions about PB2. So this is the PB2 chocolate flavor. I happen to have got this at the WLSFA event in Vegas, and I think I paid from them directly like $3.80 or something. So the stats for PB2, of course, are much better. And really, dried peanuts, ground, they add a little bit of a sugar into it. You make you add water, make a paste, and the stats are a lot lower. And a lot of people, because it's powdered, it's really easy to put in your shakes and stuff. And that's really primarily the way that I have used this. It doesn't give you the full flavor of peanut butter. So, if you're really craving peanut butter, the full peanut butter, and you know that you can control your quantity, a lot of people really just say you ought to go for the real thing and settle your craving. Last year when I was looking for PB2 locally, I couldn't find it. But I really wanted to try it. I knew I could order it online, but at the time the only way I could get online was I could buy like a whole case, and I didn't want to buy a case of something that I'd never had before. So I had poked around, and I found at a health food store here in town, and I live in the Phoenix area, a health food store, and this was a small store that carries a lot of vitamins and health foods. I found this brand called Just Great Stuff Organic Powdered Peanut Butter. And when you look at it, the stats are very similar to PB2. This has got organic peanuts and coconut sugar instead of regular sugar in it. The stats are really close. And it's still a powder, you mix with water. So it gives you that effect. Here is the problem with this one. I paid almost $8 for this jar, which was totally ridiculous. I can't believe I did it, but I wanted to try this PB2 stuff that badly, or something like it. And as you can see, I still have plenty left, and it's just because I don't use shakes and stuff. I don't put peanut butter in shakes very often. It's not one of my preferred flavors, but every once in a while I will. And I did because I was looking for some kind of comfort food last week, and I did mix this with some water. I took actually 2 servings, so 4 whole tablespoons, which would have been 90 calories. Yeah, now, 4 tablespoons of real peanut butter was, would have been, woo. And I put it on an Oro wheat sandwich thin and made like a peanut butter sandwich, and it was felt decadent, and it's been probably 18 months since I've had a peanut butter sandwich. So that kind of gave me the feeling, not exactly because you don't get the full fat, but the feeling. So I also do want to point out that Lori, who's on Facebook as Lolo's Banded Living, says she buys plain old peanut butter flour by Protein Plus, and she uses that in her shakes. So she doesn't use PB2. She uses that peanut flour in her shakes and smoothies, and I think you can get that around. You can also get it online, and it seemed like, I looked at Amazon, it was like $5 something for 16 ounces, so it was pretty economical. Okay, on to another product. I love iced tea. Was raised in Texas, and we drink it sweet, but typically I drink brewed tea. You can't take brewed tea with you very well, so I found this in the tea aisle, and they actually have several flavors, but I like this one. It doesn't feel like instant tea. So you mix one of these little sticks, it's like kind of like the Crystal Light sticks, in a 16-ounce bottle of water, and then it's really 10 calories, not 5. I like it because it's decaf, and this is half lemonade, half tea, so it gets me kind of like an Arnold Palmer effect. It's a fruity Arnold Palmer, and I like it. So there's the stats on it. Yes, it does have a little bit of real sugar because honey granules, and it's sweetened with sucralose. I like it. I'm not a big fan of the Crystal Lights or those wannabe things because I don't like the fake fruity drinks, but I do like this. Okay, granola. Have you guys noticed that they're starting to label everything as protein, high protein, and then when you look at it, there's not much protein in it? Well, this was one of the things that I found that was labeled protein, and I'd been really wanting some granola, so I broke down and bought this. It's still not what I consider high protein, but it does have more protein than regular granola. So here's the stats. I'm not a cereal girl. I've never liked a lot of cereal, with the exception of granola, but granola has huge amount of calories, and typically the pre-done granola is a lot of fat. I think I'm just going to break down and try to make my own granola because I've heard it is so easy to do. So this still has quite a bit of calories, for a quarter cup, and a decent and pretty amount of fat, and only 6 grams of protein. So it doesn't meet my 10-to-1 ratio. I put a quarter cup in with a half cup Greek yogurt. It's still not a full 10-to-1 ratio, but it's better. So when you open the bag, it looks like a typical granola. There is some chunks. There's some chunks and some small. Here's what I noticed about this granola is that it is not, I don't feel like it's as crunchy as regular granola. It's not as crunchy as I want it to be. I wanted to have more crunch. I almost feel like I need to put this in the oven and toast it more. It's okay. It's not great. I probably wouldn't buy it again. But it gave me, if you're really jonesing for something. Again, this is something I have to really watch because I could eat way too much of it. I don't know how much my sleeve would allow me to eat, but All right, so the next thing is a tool that I think, as we're all learning how to make changes in our life, sometimes it's really, we want to examine ourselves, but we don't always do it in an objective way or an organized, thoughtful way. And so this is a tool that I learned about at work, and I'm going to have to stop and I'll give you some examples to walk through. But MLDB, more of, less of, differently, and better. It's kind of multi-dimensional look at something. Okay, sorry. So you think about your situation, and you're going to think about this in 4 angles. More of, less of, differently, better. So if my situation is my eating on track and trying to stay away from the starchy carbs that are my slippery danger zone. So what am I going to do more of? So one, I'm going to do more of some structured meal planning and some taking my lunches to work, because I noticed that if I don't have the right things with me, then I'm still a habit of I go to starchy carb. I'm going to do more of looking at my menus before I go out to eat. What I'm going to do less of. I'm going to do less of going to the grocery store hungry or even on the verge of hungry, because I find that when I am in the grocery store and I'm on this verge of hunger, not even full hunger or mealtime, that I find myself looking at the starchy carbs and roaming the aisles thinking, I could buy this, I could just have this. And I'm putting myself through a lot of heartache, number one, that even if I walk away and don't have that stuff, it's a lot of angst. And two, I'm not always winning that victory of not bringing it home. And then once it's in my house, you know, so I'm going to do less of this going to work, going to the grocery store hungry. Differently. This get kind of close. So differently. What are other things I'm going to do differently? Okay, the going to the grocery store hungry could fit into the differently column. Yes. But another thing I'm going to do differently is, you know, I'm going to go and look for some recipes that will give me the feeling of starchy carbs that aren't starchy carbs. So, for instance, early on I did zucchini pasta with sauce. Haven't done that in a long time. Maybe I need to come back to that and do some pasta sauce with some zucchini kind of noodles. So I need to maybe look for some new recipes to cook a little bit differently. Another thing for differently is I've noticed that, you know, where do I want to do starchy carbs? Well, at certain times of day, and of course, and it is in certain places. So certain times of day is when I'm here at home. I'm getting that wanting to eat something sweet at night. So I need to start thinking about what's an activity that I'm going to do, or to fill that, or what am I going to have in my house? Like, am I just going to make sure I have enough Greek yogurt or something else to get me a starchy carb when I'm craving that? And then I know I'm running out of time. The other thing is better. So, you know, what am I doing now that I just feel like I want to do better? So I think that you kind of get the gist of this. It lets you think of 4 kind of dimensions, and you know, some of them overlap and it's a gray area. It's up to you where you put into it. I saw this used as a group, and actually we put it on a piece of paper, and the group kind of brainstormed things that went into a certain category. I think it would be interesting to use this with your kids, like if you have a family, and I know I have friends that say, you know, they have family meetings, they talk to their small kids about certain things, and I think this would be interesting to think about. So as a family, and we've got this particular issue that we want to talk about, and in order to, you know, work through it, what are we going to do more of, less of, differently, and better? You don't have to write it down. I think there's some value to writing stuff down, but there's, you know, you can also do it in your head. And just a different way, I think, of doing this kind of self-analysis and thoughtful, put some structure around it, which sometimes helps. So, sorry, hope this wasn't too rambly for you. I hope you have a terrific vacation and that you learned a little bit something that would be useful for you between either this or the products that I talked about. And don't forget about the Back to Basics Transformation Academy registration that's going on right now. It is a really terrific, fun thing. It will help get your fall off to an oomph started if you want to put in the effort for it. Have a great one. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.